Welcome back. Let's start by looking at our Think About It questions from the last lesson. Which strategy, partial sum or counting up on the number line, makes the most sense to you, and why? For me, I would say the partial sum probably makes the most sense because I like to think about it in the tens and then the ones, and that helps me to also do it in my head versus it's harder for me to picture a number line, but it's easy for me to picture what 90 plus 40 is and then 5 plus 7 is and add those two sums together. So can you or would you use these strategies with triple digit addition? Why or why not? I don't think I would use the number line strategy with triple digits just because that would take a really long time to draw a number line that was that big. On the other hand, I definitely think I would use the partial sum strategy because I would just break it up into hundreds, tens, and ones, and then add the sum of the hundreds, add the sum of the tens, and add the sum of the ones. So those are my thoughts on the Think About It questions. What's our topic today? Well, we did double digit addition last time, so we're going to do double digit subtraction this time. But we're only going to talk about one strategy, but this one, just like in the last lesson, should help you to understand what it is you're doing when you do double digit addition or subtraction. And also to keep in mind is that the last question on the last number story that you worked on in the last lesson was to get you started thinking in the way that we're going to be using today for our double digit subtraction. But first I would like you to think about 84 minus 26 and solve it whatever way you are most comfortable with double digit subtraction. Go ahead and pause the video and work on that now. The answer is going to be 58. There are a huge number of strategies you might have used with this problem, but the one we're going to talk about today is called think addition. Now you're probably thinking, what in the world does addition have to do with double digit subtraction? But that's what we're going to explore today. And I challenge you to think about how this is related to the inverse relationships we learned about in our first lesson. I'm going to model for you what think addition looks like. When we use think addition, we are going to start with using a number line. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to think about it in terms of how many more do I need to go from 14 to 36? Because here's my whole. I have 36 of something. Let's say I have 36 Cheerios. And I know that I'm taking away 14, so I want to think about how many more do I have that's going to get me to 36. So we're going to start at 14, but I'm actually going to start at 10 because that's close to 14 and an easier number to use. And we're going to end at 40 because that's near 36. And we know our goal is to get to 36. We want to find out how many more we need to get to 36. Just like in the last video, I didn't label all the ones, but I did label the tens. So we know that we have at least 14. So 14 is going to be right here. And our goal is to get to 36. And we need to figure out how many it's going to take to get to 36, to complete 36, because we already have 14. How many more do we need to complete it? I'm going to start by counting up by 10. So I'm going to go 14 to 24. Okay, here's 10. But I'm not there yet. So I'm going to jump from 24, I'm going to jump 4 more to 34. Here's another 10. Still not there. I'm going to jump 1 because I'm getting close. So 34, 35, 36. I'm there now. So here's 1 and here's 1. So now to figure out how many I just hopped, I'm going to add these hops together. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 1 is 21, plus 1 is 22. So my answer is 22. I started at 14, because that's the first part. And then I needed to figure out what the other part was to get to 36. This is how we use think addition. And do you see how it's similar to the last lesson when we were trying to figure out how many to get to our whole? Let's try this one together. Polly races her brother to the candy store where she and her brother buy 48 pieces of candy. Polly buys 29 of the pieces. How many did her brother buy? I'd like you to pause your video and think for a minute what our number sentence is going to look like. Here's what it should look like. 48 pieces of candy because that's our whole, minus 29 because we know Polly has 29 and we want to figure out how many her brother bought. Now I'd like you to pause your video again and think about where you would like to start your number line and where you think it should end. I chose to make my number line start at 20 because I know I'll be starting at 29, and I had it end at 50 because I know that my goal is to get to 48, and 50 is pretty close to that. So we're going to start, like I said, at 29. And this time, instead of jumping 10 first, I think I'm going to just jump 1 to get to 30. I think that might make it a little bit easier for me to count by tens. So I've jumped 1 so far. Now remember, my goal is to get to 48, which is right here. Now we're going to jump from 30 to 40. There's 10. But we're not there yet. We need to get to 48. So we're going to jump 8 more. And we have 1 plus 10 plus 8. 1 plus 10 is 11, plus 8 is 19. So 48 minus 29 is going to equal 19. I just had to write it over there because I ran out of room. This is an easier way to think about subtraction sometimes because this doesn't require any regrouping and it doesn't require us to write anything down all the time. Yes, we're writing it down with a number line now, but later on I'm going to challenge you to try this without a number line, just doing it mentally, jumping up from one number to the next. Let's try this one together again. Daquan and his grandfather went on a walk together to collect rocks. They came back with 56 rocks. Daquan collected 39 of them. How many did his grandfather collect? So first, just like last time, we're going to think about what your number sentence is. So go ahead and pause your video and write that down. We know that our whole is 56 rocks. They came back with 56. And we know that Daquan collected 39 of those rocks. So now we're going to be looking for how many the grandfather collected. Go ahead and pause your video again and create your number line, starting where you think it would be best to start and then ending wherever you think it would be best to end. I decided to start at 30 because my part is 39, so I know that Daquan collected 39. And then my whole is 56, so I decided to end at 60 because that'll get me at least to 56. And that's how many rocks we have all together. And we want to find out how many in those 56 rocks belong to Daquan's grandfather. So, where are we going to start on the number line? We're going to start at 39 because that's how many rocks we already know exist. And they belong to Daquan. Now, I have a couple of options. I could, just like in the last one, jump 1 to get to 40, but that's not the only way to do it. I want you to realize that there are a lot of ways that you can count up whatever works the best for you. So if it works best for you to count up 1 to 40 and then count by tens, absolutely do that. You could also go from 39 to 49 if that works best. You're going to think about what's going to be the easiest for you. Sometimes you can even count back. So let's do counting back on this one. If I count up from 39 to 49 to 59, here I have 10 and here I have 10, but I've gone over My goal was to get to 56, but I've gotten to 59. So now, if I count back 3, 1, 2, 3, I'll land at 56, which is what I want. So this makes it a little bit more complicated, but with some problems, this might be the easiest way to think about it. So 10 plus 10 is going to equal 20. But remember, that got us to 59, not 56, which is where we needed to get to. We counted back 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from 20 to get 17. But like I said, that's not the only way to do it. You could also go 39 to 40, 40 to 50, and then 50 to 56. And here we have 1, 10, and 6. And we get the same answer. 1 plus 10 is 11, plus 6 is 17. There are so many different ways that you can count. You just count up on the number line. Use the one that works the best for you. I'd like you to try this one on your own. Natasha went to the zoo with her family. While she was there, she decided to feed some peanuts to the 2 elephants, Ellie and Eliza. She had brought 43 peanuts. Ellie ate 18 of them. Eliza ate the rest. How many peanuts did Eliza eat? Go ahead and pause your video, write the number sentence, and then solve it using the number line. Here's the number sentence that you should have found, 43 minus 18. And then, if you started at 18, and you could have counted up many different ways, I'm going to count up going to 20, so there's 2, to 30, to 40, and then 3 more to get to 43. Ten plus 10 is 20, plus 2 is 22, plus 3 is 25. Even if you didn't count up this exact same way, you should have gotten 25. Go ahead and try this one now. Jamal started out with 53 marbles, but then he gave 24 to Tommy. How many marbles does Jamal have left? I've already given you the number sentence. I just want you to go ahead and solve it. I chose to start my number line at 20 because I'm starting at 24, and I ended at 60 because that gives me plenty of space for 53. Let's see, I'm going to choose, after starting at 24, which everybody should have done, I'm going to count up by tens. 24 to 34, there's 1 10. 34 to 44, still not there yet. 44 to 54. My goal was to get to 53. So just like when I showed you before, I've chosen to count over and then count back 1 because I got really close, but just a little bit too far. So minus 1. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. Minus 1 is 29. So my answer, and again I ran out of room, but here's your answer, 29. No matter how you count it up, that is the answer you should have gotten. I'm going to really challenge you now. Here's a number story that I would like you to solve by counting up, by using this think addition strategy, but don't use a number line. You can do it mentally or you can write down numbers if you need to, but try not to use a number line because you're not always going to have time or space to write that down on a piece of paper. Here's the problem. Abby and Brock are selling cookies at a bake sale. They have to bring 48 cookies between the 2 of them. Brock is bringing 29 cookies, so how many does Abby have to bring? Go ahead and pause your video, write the number sentence, and try to solve it without the number line. Here's what your number sentence should look like. We have 48 minus 29 because we started with 48 cookies, or that's how many we need, rather. And we know Brock is bringing 29, so that's a part of the 48, and we need to figure out the other part of the 48. Now, I'm going to write down for you the way I thought this through without using a number line. So we're starting at 29. I'm going to count up 1 to get to 30. Okay, now I'm going to count up 10 to go from 30 to 40. Now I'm at 40, not at 48 yet. So I need to count up 8 more. All right. And now I'm at 48. And if I add these together in my head, 1 plus 10 plus 8 is going to be 19. So if you got 19 without using a number line, that's fantastic. And if not, that just means you need a little bit more practice. It's fine. And that's great. All right, let's finish up with our think about it questions. When can you use Think Addition to make problem solving easier? And then which strategies do you like to use to solve subtraction number sentences? It's okay if you have ideas other than Think Addition. Whatever works for you, I'd like you to think about it and how that's helpful for you. See you next time.